Wait.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I know you unmuted yourself because you wanted to say good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Maria.
Great.
Doing good.
Yes.
Glad to be here, right? It beats the alternative. Or maybe it doesn't, I don't know.
No, stop.
Like,
I don't even know what the alternative is.
yes, heaven.
Oh, okay, that one. Yeah, well, that would be.
Good morning, all.
Good morning, Tiffany.
As it relates to real estate.
Yes. So we got 1 minute or a couple minutes here. Tell me something good. Who's got something good? Anybody have successes over the weekend or gratitude they want to shout out?
Week 1 of the NFL, were you happy with the outcome of your games? You know, how did things go? Yeah, Dale, I see you shaking. I think I know why you're doing that.
Yeah. Plus my fantasy team sucked out loud. So.
I'm in a fantasy league, Dale, but I'm not even sure who my team is. So there you go. I guess if I win, they'll tell me.
The sad part is you'll probably have better luck than most of the people that think they know what they're doing. So.
Yeah.
I think I have players. I don't know. Maybe. That's funny.
Okay, who's got gratitude? No one? No one has gratitude? Come on.
Just grateful for this beautiful weather.
I was just going
Yes.
to say, just grateful for being alive this morning and having this opportunity to get some good market updates. So
I love that. Did anyone see the moon last night? It was absolutely stunningly beautiful.
I could not, and I was so disappointed that I couldn't.
Oh, it was so pretty yesterday. Anyone get a really great present for Grandparents' Day that I just found out was yesterday? No?
No.
Okay. All right, let's jump in. It's 8 o'clock.
10 o'clock. All right, cool. Good morning. What do you guys want to talk about today?
Yeah, anyone have anything they are needing help with that we want to talk about before we jump into what we're going to talk about? This is a quiet crew today.
This cooler weather is. Yeah, there you go. There it is.
Thanks, Dave.
Just had to do that. Sorry.
Thank you. No one has anything that they want to talk about or any struggles they're having in the field or a client that they need help with an objection handler or anything?
I have one.
Thank you, Maria.
Yes. Recently I was talking with someone that she bought in 2015 and she's still thinking that interest is still high. So now that we have improvement in the interest and we have more opportunity for buyers, this is a great market that we need to, improve our skills for buyers, especially. So how to handle when someone has a house from 15 years ago, because they think they still high the interest on, they don't want to buy it right now.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that today. And so, again, Maria, I would really lean into, they obviously have a want or a need to sell their house and move. So we'll get into that and show you some graphs today that you can share with them. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else?
I would like just a little bit. So I had a inquiry come in, younger woman, high five figure, and she's under the mindset that due to her single income, although she's a pretty decent high earner, she's not able to buy. So as I was kind of figuring out what I wanted today to look like for me, as far as like a Monday mindset post that I could, or a market Monday post that I could make, I don't know if we could talk maybe about, you know, maybe not necessarily about the salary, but the rates, and how even though I guess what I'm trying to say is it's possible for her to buy, even being a five-figure earner, and not have and not being home poor, I guess is what I'm basically trying to say. She's knows that she's approved, but she's like, yeah, I'm approved, but I can't technically afford that. So does my question make sense? What I'm trying to get
Yeah,
out. Okay,
absolutely.
perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have, some mortgage lenders on the call now, and I think what I'm hearing you say, Tiffany, is that maybe she's been approved at the high end of her ability versus what she's comfortable with.
Right.
Okay, yeah, well, definitely, we could talk about that today, because is she a millennial as well?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that today. You guys are
Great.
just nailing all the things that we're gonna talk about today.
Yep, so we picked the right thing.
Okay, JL, were you gonna add something to that?
Just one thing that it happens just because of people, what they see on TV and internet and everything else. They're focusing on the rate, the one thing that can change, or you can change. What they're forgetting about is waiting that 15 years or 20 years to buy a house. The price of the house is doing this. The
Yeah.
rate's doing this. You're focusing on the smaller number of the two. And we have to deal with that all the time. So everybody's dealing with that. But that same $450,000 or that 15-year house made her maybe 300 grand, probably 400 grand.
Yeah,
And you're worried about $75 a month or $100 a month. And that we're trying to focus people in on the value of the house versus what you think you might spend, and even how you can buy your way down. But that's a different story. But I'm just right now, everybody's focused on the rate because that's the only thing we're talking about. We're in such a great part of the country that we're forgetting about the fact that, or in taxes, taxes here in Union County went up some. Value of the house doubled. So something's going to give somewhere. So we have to we're focusing on the wrong thing. So if we can get them to think about that their house that they're going to buy now is going to go up another 20% in 5 years or 8 years or whatever that looks like, that extra 100 or 200 a month is really small in comparison.
For sure, for sure. And I know Tiffany, my daughter was able to she bought a townhome, and she was a five-figure earner at the time,
Mhm.
and it was still less than what she would have had to pay in rent.
yeah,
So, and now she has a townhome that she will use as her first investment property once, she has somebody move into it. So teaching her to think differently, because she felt the
Right.
same exact way about buying, like, maybe I can't afford it, I'm by myself, I'm single, I don't make
Mhm.
$1,000 a year. And yet now she's starting to see, like, wow, you mean I'm actually gonna have this property and it's gonna be in my investment portfolio once I start making more money and buy the next house. So got her out thinking very, very differently.
well, I think too, part of it, we can have a conversation around what Dale's talking about, it's really about equity. Equity comes from two things, right? First thing is the market can give equity through appreciation, but we can also earn equity by our amortization of paying down that mortgage. And to Robin's point, if I were to leave a rental and go to another rental, I just simply moved. If I own something and then I buy the next thing and I move, I still have an asset that not only can produce income and amortization and all the other things. There's some tax advantages to this. The scope gets a lot bigger. So to Dale's point, yeah, everybody's focused on rate, but rate, we got to convert that to payment conversations initially in kind of comparison, and then bring it down to the asset.
And
conversation.
long-term asset conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, but great question. Thank you, Tiffany, for bringing that up for conversation. Who else? Anyone else? All right, you want me to share?
Sure, yeah, we got three things we want to kind of share today. We're gonna start off with this first one.
Is this one time?
Maybe. I think it was that one.
This one?
Yes, that was the first one.
Okay.
So this one came from three different sources, and what it's doing, it's looking at resale home prices, it's a price index. And the sources are NAR's median, National Association of Realtors Median Price Index, the Case Shiller National Index, which they've been following the real estate industry, God, for probably since the nineties. And then Freddie Mac, their home price index. And what this is showing, going back to January, is this is what's happening nationally with home prices since January of this year. So what are we seeing on here?
Let's stay in the
Slow-
NAR.
Slowing
meeting.
down.
Right, what we're seeing is, we're seeing a decline in home pricing, or at least a slowdown. It's not that we're not seeing appreciation. It's just slowing, right? So depreciation rate we were sitting at in January, if I look at, like, I'll just go to Case Shiller in the middle, 4.2. February, we slowed to 4. March, we slowed to 3.4. April, 2.7, 2.3, 1.9. They don't have July in there yet. This is important for us to know, because too often people think, well, you know, the prices of real estate is going down. And they think it's going down based on what? Everybody's connecting the dots between prices going down in value to price reductions in the market. The reality of it, that's not how you calculate the value of a home based on price reductions. The prices of homes are calculated based on the sale prices. As a matter of fact, Case Shiller's index actually looks at resale homes repeatedly over a length of time, say 15, 20 years. How often has that particular home been sold? And what's the value of that home given the market it's in at the moment, right?
Well, and Chip, it's not that the home prices are going down,
They're not.
they're not, it's just that they're not appreciating at the level
Right.
that they were in the past.
Correct. The rate of appreciation is slowing.
Right,
None of this is about declining prices. Now, if we start seeing negatives, that could be a different story.
but are we gonna have sellers? So I think this is the conversation, because we have sellers that may have bought 2 years ago where the appreciation was at 14, 15%,
What are they
Yeah.
expecting?
and what they're expecting.
Right.
Yes,
This is a way for us to set expectations of reality. Now, don't forget, guys, what we're showing you here, this is, as we do, this is the macro level, right? This is national numbers.
yeah, we're seeing quite a bit higher
Yeah, I think
appreciation.
we're running at like 2.6 right now, I think was the latest
Right.
one I saw. So we're ahead of these numbers. We're still slower than we were in January, but we're not at this rate.
And if I was going to a listing appointment, I would have this in my listing packet. So when we start talking about pricing their home, depending on when they bought that house, it's just math, right? You can take this graph out, you can get the local numbers as well. And talk about what their house really is, and it's more than just having the conversation about the last 6 months of sales in that particular neighborhood. Because the last 6 months is probably not the most accurate indication of what that home is worth.
Well, you know, the thing about it, our job is to provide information. So many people have talked about, you know, what could I use? What could I say? You know me, I keep calling them one pagers. I like things simple
Absolutely.
that are out there. They tell the story. Here's the thing, I'm not expecting people to understand the context completely and things that we want to put out there. But what I do want them to do is, if you think about it, I want them to have additional questions that they would call us about. So if they saw something like this that maybe you posted and they were thinking about doing something in the market and they called you and asked a question, that's the exact position you want to be in, because what you're doing is you're giving yourself that at bat to sit down and have a real conversation with them potentially about selling. Because a seller may look at this now and go, well, crap, maybe I should list my house now versus waiting, because I thought if I waited another year, I'd get another 5% in value. But what you're showing me is the valuation or the appreciation has slowed, and I wouldn't get 5% over the next year. Maybe I'd only get 3, and is it worth it for me to wait?
I could get you the highest and best price today, that's what I know.
Yep, absolutely, because that's the data we have. Yep.
All right. Any questions around this conversation?
Yeah, so just to confirm, so what we're looking at is the appreciation rate of the homes and how it's not necessarily, a negative thing that it's kind of slowing down a bit. I would use this as a positive, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, always spin it as a positive. I mean, we're just leveling out, right? Which is a really good thing for our market. It wasn't sustainable what was happening. There, at some point, we had to either crash, which none of us want that, or we need to level out. And I think we're seeing a more leveling out of the market.
Well, don't forget too, the federal government likes to see housing appreciation at about 4% per year. That's kind of their kind of sweet spot, if you will. Slow, steady, manageable. It's not creating bubble environments. It's usually housing demand and supply kind of matching up based on all the other factors. So, we're not really out of line with any of these. It's just, we're gonna see slowing time just based on just sometimes seasonality too.
So just a real quick question, how would you frame a statement in a positive way for my scenario with the young lady feeling like she can't buy? How would you just pose a high little statement?
So, if you look at it, it would be beneficial to have some of the local numbers too, kind of looking
Yeah.
at appreciation.
Will we
Just
get those?
Charlotte area, and just show her that while, maybe 2 years ago it was going up this rate, it's slowed down to the point now where if we could get you into a house where the values are kind of evening out, or the value, the equity is slowing, and maybe rates are declining to a point where it feels more affordable. Guess what's gonna happen? What's the opposite of things going down in value or equity declining? The opposite of that is what? Increases, right? And I can tell you that if we get interest rates that get around 6 or even below 6, there will be a big demand surge for housing. And that will just simply add to increased prices. So therefore, it adds to increased value. Therefore, it adds to more equity that's being in play. So this could be a sweet spot for a buyer to buy over the next, say, 60 to 90 days.
Buy and wait, don't wait and buy.
Right. That's what I was trying to say.
Mhm. And just one last question, where would I get our local information from?
You can go to, when you log into Matrix, Canopy, go to
Yeah.
SAM, go to the SAM data, SAM reports. And you
Got
can
it.
find appreciation. You can break it down by Charlotte, you can break it down by county, a neighborhood, a zip code, you can break it down any way you want. If you need help with that, just ask, and we'll show you how to do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else? All right, you ready to go this one?
Yeah, let's do this one next. So here's the thing, guys.
Can everybody see that new graph?
We just
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
we just went here real quick and here's what I'm gonna tell you, please rely on your local and your relation with your lenders to get the interest rates. This is just, we look for something that kind of gave us a national perspective on rates, and here's why we wanted it. So Robin, if you could go for this historical timeline,
Yep.
like the 5-year.
Yeah.
Did that one. So again, I like graphs, right? Because graphs can, in this case, show us some trends. And of course, we see what started to happen in late 22, mid to later 22, that shoot up in interest rates. And yeah, it got as high as, 8%. As going into the end of 23, early 24. But if we look at it now, what are we starting to see going into like this year, especially now we went back
Well,
to
this
1
quarter,
year,
yeah.
or even the 6 month. This gives us some ideas here of what we can see, where we're starting to see some trending downward relatively consistently on the interest rates. So to what Dale was talking about earlier, if people are sensitive to rates, this could be a great graph to show them. If we scroll down just a little bit on this one, right there. For the week of September 7th, top offers on bank, blah, 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 were lower. On a $340,000 30-year loan, this translates to $2,289 in annual savings. So guys, again, our job is to provide tools. What I would do is I would give like an opportunity for, again, your lender that you partner with to do something along the lines of this, where they can give some comparisons and then plug it into, based on even 6 months ago where the rates were to where they are today, on this house that you're considering buying, if you were to lock in this rate today, you would have an annual savings of X. Then you couple that with some like an amortization schedule to start showing what that ownership looks like over the span of 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. So they can start seeing the equity. And then if you wanted to kind of do an overlay in that of what the market appreciation is forecasted to do for our area, that will just explode what that equity looks like. So at the end of say 3, 4, 5 years down the road, all of a sudden they were sitting on 40 or 50 or 60,000 in equity, and I'm just throwing a number out there, compared to how much equity do they have when they just simply rent? Right? So now you're having a business conversation with them, and you're showing them why, to Robin's point, don't wait to buy.
And you have opportunities right now with sellers, because sellers are wanting to sell, and so I'm seeing a lot of price reductions happening. What if that seller actually said, I'll give $10,000 to buy the rate down, instead of reducing the price by 10,000? I mean,
Well-
there's a huge, you could run that on an AM schedule and,
Right.
and show a buyer how that's actually so much more beneficial to them.
The annual savings, the payment savings, the
Yes,
equity increase,
yes.
all of that can be incorporated into that. And if you think about it, a $10,000 price reduction on a $700,000 listing isn't much of a price reduction.
No, exactly.
But a $10,000 concession to use for whatever they want, let's say an interest rate buy down, if they could use all of it for that, it'd probably make a huge difference in just that payment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So a little bit more palatable too for the seller,
Mhm.
and probably a little bit more impactful as well.
Questions around this or comments? It's also a really amazing opportunity to reach out, like if we go back to, let's go back to the 5 year.
Okay.
And the people that bought in this time frame, you know, the October 2023 timeframe, what an amazing opportunity to reach back out to those clients, even about refinancing. I mean, if you're doing nothing else but touching your database to say, listen, today, you know, the rates are at this, you may have an interest rate hovering right around this interest rate, it might be a good time to think about refinancing. I just was thinking about you and wanted to reach out.
It's a value-based conversation, whether or not it makes sense for them, you don't know, let them,
Right.
the lender figure that, you know, the math out on that. But what it does is it shows that you're there for them, and they're not a past client, they're your client.
Exactly.
You're always looking out for them, even though they're not transacting with you at the moment, you still care about them and you care about their house
Right.
and their best interest.
I think somebody was.
I'm gonna throw out just a basic number. You guys made perfect sense with, use the $10,000 from 700,000. May save you $50 to $80 a month, not even that much, probably less. But if you do a 2-1 buy down, you're gonna save $400 or $500 a month in that 24 months. So let's say it's 100 times 24 months, that's $2,400. The 500 times 2,400, that 10,000 makes you quadruple your money.
Right.
Yeah,
And then hopefully go back. Now, there's a tiny bit of a risk when you go back and, hey, what are my rates going to be in 2 years or whatever that happens to be, or do there's a couple other ways to do that. But the savings, that 10,000 is worth a lot more in a buy down than it is just a price reduction. Not even close.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dale, I see over and over again, you know, price reductions versus agents getting really creative and smart about how they can market these homes to a buyer, like what Tiffany was saying, you know. If that person could save X amount and she could show them that because the seller was willing to do something like that. I think we just need to be more creative and think differently in this type of market.
Think about it for a seller, 10 grand on 700,000 is like a 1.5% price reduction.
Right, yeah,
Nobody gets off the couch for a 1.5% off sale.
And it'd been on the market for 6 weeks anyway.
exactly,
With,
exactly.
leveraging that 10,000 in a different way that can be, you know, get you in front of more buyers. And what that looks like for the buyer population,
Well, think about
That's
it.
strategy.
That's exactly what the lender or the new construction, the builders are doing right now.
Yeah,
That's why it's hard to compete against the builders because the builders get it. And by the way, they're just working that into the price of the home. I mean,
because builders don't wanna have price reductions on homes.
no,
No one does.
they don't
Yeah.
wanna reduce the price in the neighborhood. So they're just getting really creative. And so when it comes down to payments and a buyer can walk into a new construction with X payment. And yet the same house in the neighborhood is selling for maybe the same price, but their loan payment's gonna be, more. It doesn't make sense for them. So the sellers we've got to just start getting creative in how we do this, and the money is all the same at the end of the day. Any other questions?
I think Dave had a question.
I think, yeah, just a comment. What we're talking about here, I think, is the critical reason why we need to get our lenders involved, whether it's the buyer or the seller, and let them be the experts because they're on top of this all day, every day, while we're doing different real
They
estate
do.
stuff. So I think it's critical to get that alliance grown with a lender and then get them involved.
Absolutely, Dave.
100%. They're a business partner of ours, right? Our lender relationships, it's like all the other relationships we need. People are buying and selling a house. We don't do all that extra work because we're not licensed to do it. We don't have the skill in doing it. Bring the pros in, man. It just makes you guys look more professional.
And
Sit down and do this.
in most cases, your buyer doesn't want you to know their financial situation. They want you to know how much house they can buy, but they don't want you to know how many credit cards they have, if they've ever had a bankruptcy, if they've ever had, they just don't want you knowing. So, right? So they want
I
you,
don't.
right, they want you giving them to an expert that can work with them on what they need to do to get in the house that they love. So, all right,
That's
let's.
All right, now we want to look at one more thing, because I never want this to always feel like it's doom
Oh.
and gloom and,
What happened? This is not gonna be what we want, or is it?
yeah.
Yes, this is like, nobody wants to see Robin's email box.
Scary.
It is scary.
It's scary. All right, so let's get out of, none of this designed, by the way, guys, to be doom and gloom. It's just reality, conversations that we have.
No,
We're
I
better
think it's
prepared.
so positive, like
It's about opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, if we're better prepared and have a greater understanding, we have the opportunity to help more people. That's how I look at it.
Well, and I don't know how many of you saw my video on the most recent reports that came out as far as market share. This market center we are leading the market share in listings taken, closings, for buyers and sellers amongst all brokerages in our area. So it just gives more information to our agents to go and have higher level conversations with your clients. So we continue to take market share. The more market share that we take, the easier it is for you to do business.
Absolutely. All right. So
Robin,
this
which video? Oh, my apologies, real quick. Robin, which video was this?
So I posted it, it should be on our YouTube channel.
That's what I saw.
So you'll have
Okay.
that, and please use it to take and share with your clients.
Okay.
I think it was on the Facebook group page too.
Yeah, I think it's on the Facebook group. Thanks, Dale.
Okay. Is that the one that you posted from the email yesterday or Saturday? I think it was with the 10 things to know, or something different.
That was something different.
Okay, no worries. I'm on that page now, so I can take a look. Thank you.
If you can't find it, let me know. I'll send it to you.
Cool beans. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, so this next thing came from a company called Housing Wire, and this was some data that the US Census Bureau did, along with somebody within Harvard, on future growth data of housing and housing sales, actually. And here's the cool thing about it, if we can scroll down just a little bit, because there was something interesting in this article where it was talking about the millennials, the largest adult generation in US history, numbering approximately 73 million people. In 2025, they surveyed this group, 52% of them intend to purchase a home. That equates to over 38 million prospective home buyers, or about 20 to 25 million home buying decisions, depending on household status. Now, the thing about that statement, this is designed to be like probably over the next 25 years. of like housing forecasts. And now if we scroll back up to the information, here's what this starts to look like. So if you think nationally, we've been selling right around the 4 million homes now. This will be what, 30 year in a row. What's being forecasted in here by these groups is that by 2030, our baseline resale home sales will be about 5.5 million. If you factor in some of that 20 some million out of that millennial group alone, that could add an additional, but in 2030, an additional 600,000 units. But every year you can see here, it's almost like 20% more. 15 to 20% more in home sales just from one buying group who said that they want to buy a house.
Yeah,
So if we start thinking about this, look at some of these numbers. If you factor that in, we're talking about 6 million, 7 million units per year happening. Guys, I think historically we didn't quite get to 8 million in
No.
2006 or 7.
best year ever.
And during even pandemic and 21, 22, I think we did 6.5, 6.7, whatever that number is. So thinking about this, future pacing our industry, what our opportunity looks like, so there's going to be a huge amount of demand.
Yeah, so the first thing that I think of, Chip, when I read this is I'm thinking, okay, what does my avatar need to look like? If I know the millennials are gonna be buying, 38 million prospective buyers, and that's gonna be that the millennials are those people, what does my avatar online need to look like? Who am I actually, doing videos for that are gonna attract to me? What's my post look like? Again, if you're not doing videos, you need to.
Well, and here's an example. And here they said, meet Sarah, 33, a millennial teacher with 2 kids, been renting for years, waiting for rates to drop below 6%. With a gift from her parents, she's ready to buy.
Right,
Now multiply that scenario by potentially 38 million other people who maybe haven't even bought their first home yet. You can see why the demand on this can be so massive.
yeah, so
About years.
what video could you do to show that you have a lender that's maybe got a program of some sort that could be below 6%? Right, if we know that Sarah, 33, is a millennial teacher, and that's what she's looking for, then how many other people are looking for the exact same thing, waiting to meet you?
So think about your scenarios. Robin's point, video would be a great way to do this. Do the video with your lender.
Absolutely,
Let
yeah,
them talk the specifics about the
going
math.
back to what Dave said.
Right, you're talking then the specifics about painting that picture of what the opportunity looks like for people who don't think they can do it.
Yeah.
Or there's only one way to do it and I can't do it because rates are too high.
Well,
Or I
what-
can't do it because I don't have a down payment.
What do car salesmen do? They go back and forth to the finance person and they put a number in front of you.
It's the first question they ask, where do you want your payment?
Does this payment feel better for you? What if your lender partner on the video was showing what your payment could look like for the house of that millennial's dream, right?
Did you know you can get into a new home doing this? Or
Yes.
through this program?
Yeah.
Or just
Cause
tell
these,
the story, guys.
yeah, these numbers are huge. This is huge. This should be very exciting to everyone selling real estate. Tiffany,
I was just gonna say this is huge, actually, and I love where we're going with this, and we'll be able to circle back to this with Teresa, but she and I are meeting this week. Actually, next week. Well, no, it's Monday. Geez, I'm getting my week. This week we're meeting, and to talk about exactly this. So I love where we're going with this for sure. I'm totally excited about this.
yay!
Awesome,
Good.
then our job is complete.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyone else? We know we're 2 minutes over. We want to respect your time. Has this been helpful to everyone? Stop sharing so we can see everyone.
Hey, Robin, can I get a shameless plug in?
Of course.
We've got 44 people signed up for First Step to Bold. We have 14 full registrations, 4 leadership registrations. And so if you guys have questions about Bold or want to get involved with Bold, please call me directly. But if you get signed up for Bold by end of business today, you have a chance to spin the wheel at tomorrow's team meeting and get a free Bold. So shameless plug for Bold. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you, PJ. Bold has never been more important than it is right now. They're forecasting the fourth quarter to be the biggest and best of the entire year because the interest rates are coming down. Buyers are starting to move, seller more inventory. I promise you, if you get in that Bold room, it's gonna be super impactful. Also, if it's your first time in Bold, we're gonna reimburse you over your next 4 transactions. So it's basically free. We want you to invest in yourself getting into it, but we're gonna give it back to you. Also tomorrow, amazing panel at the team meeting. Please, please, please be at the team meeting at 11 o'clock. They're gonna share everything they brought back from Mega Camp and what they're implementing in their business that they took from top agents that is really changing their business right away. So love to see you guys at team meeting as well. Thanks for being on today. Make it a blessed day, guys.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
all.